Hello everybody. Hi y'all. It's Kimberly here. It's pretty chilly here in Texas tonight. I wasn't gonna make a video today. I just finished my podcast and felt compelled to do this video. I know it's late, it's low light, and lighting's horrible here, but I was about to go home, but I did my podcast on Anchor, and I have the dog show with Kimberly Quintanilla. That's my podcast. And I did a segment about dog fighting. As y'all know, I own a pit bull and a pit bull Connie Corso mix puppy. And dog fighting has been the scourge on this earth, I think. It's one of the most disgusting and vile things on this planet. The people who participate in it are garbage and trash. I have no pity for them if they get arrested or whatever happens to them. They deserve the worst punishment and the worst crime. My dogs are my heart. And I have the first pit bull I owned. I was walking them one day, and somebody came up to me and wanted to fight my dog, and I was like, no, and it happened several more times. And this is when I was in my early 20s. I might have been I think about 21 or 22, somewhere around there. And it happened numerous times, and I really didn't know, how vile and horrific this. It's not a sport. It is an illegal activity. It's a crime. In this country, it's a federal crime. Finally, it took hundreds of years for it to become a federal crime. And I had seen a clip of a dog fight on the news as a child. I was very young, and I said all this in the podcast, but I'm just doing this for this video too. I want to reiterate it through video. And I saw a little clip on the news because there was a dog fighting thing that had been, they did an investigation on the news, and they had a little clip of it. It was only a few seconds long, and it was, if you've never seen a real dog fight, a professional, or even a street setup by dog fighters, I'm not talking about, little poodles and beagles or whatever that get into it at the dog park. That's not what I'm talking about. These are professionally, arranged, trained in, actual dog fights. That clip is still in my mind to this day. And I was, very young when I saw it, and it was just a few seconds, and I still, I can still remember it. And I thought, oh, that's so horrible and so awful, and so I always had this idea that, oh, it's just awful, but I really didn't know enough. I didn't see enough, and I didn't know enough to make it, part of my life to advocate, for these dogs to not have to go through this cruelty. And I wish more people would be more involved in it and become more aware of it. And I know a lot of people have a weak stomach. It made me physically sick when I saw a documentary about it. And this documentary is called Off the Chain, and you can look it up. It's on YouTube, and it is very graphic. It's very horrible. But it's a necessary documentary. It's one of those necessary horrible things that you might see in life. But if you really think that you support dogs or pit bulls, unless you really understand the history of these dogs and how they were treated and how they are still treated, this non-sport is very prevalent to this day. I don't even know, there's probably a couple 100,000 people at least in the country or more that are involved in it. I want to say more than that, but I think law enforcement pegs it at like 150, 200,000. But I'm pretty sure there's more because it's so clandestine and it's so much in the underground that you have to be connected to somebody you have to be invited to these places. They're not open to the public. You can't just walk in. You got to know somebody. You have to be involved in it. You have to have some aspect of it. It has to be, you have to be participating in some aspect of it. And they offer prizes. Some of them can be as big as $50,000 or more, 100,000, who knows. There's a lot of other illegal, I don't want to mention everything, but other illegal aspects of it that, certain substances that are sold are traded for prizes and other weapons, things. I mean, there's all kinds of activity that support this. My hands are cold, that's why I'm doing this. That support this activity and is used as a currency. And I wish people who indulge themselves in a certain type of smoking would understand that plant is used as a currency in dog fighting. So if you think that you support pit bulls and you love pit bulls, but yet you want to smoke that type of plant, you may be inadvertently supporting dog fighting. So you need to think about that the next time you light up or purchase something off the street, because those kind of substances are used frequently and as currency for the prizes or buying the dogs or breeding. They're used all around for a lot of different aspects in that activity. And I don't think enough is done. I don't think enough people who say that they love pit bulls, oh, they're so sweet and I love them, they're such good dogs. If you don't really understand the history of these dogs and the plight that is still upon these dogs, then you need to educate yourself. You need to get a stronger stomach and you need to watch something online to really make your mind understand, because if you've never seen a clip of dog fighting or anything that horrible, and if you don't understand what these dogs go through, the way that they train them, the regimens that they put these dogs through, the cruelty that's inflicted on them, the abuse and the beatings and the starvation, they sew these dogs up with no painkillers. These dogs suffer horribly, and some dogs are, they are champion dogs, and they go through this constantly. It really affects them mentally. After a while, some of these dogs will have to be put down, even if they are rescued, because they are basket cases. And most of these dogs are people friendly because they have to be able to be handled by their dogmen, which are the people who fight the trash that fight these poor, unfortunate animals. They are, if they're not people friendly, most of those dogs are put down in horrific ways. I don't want to say it because of the algorithm for YouTube, but I'm just doing this video because I just got so I got so upset, after my podcast, and I wanted to bring a little bit more awareness to it, and hopefully people will be stronger, with their stomachs, so that their minds and their hearts can understand more about these dogs. Because if you really want to say you're a pit bull lover, that's part of it. You have to understand that part of their life and their history, and you have to start supporting it, and you have to start voicing it, even if you're not in law enforcement or, helping with rescue or arrest. At least voice your opinion about it. Tell people how much you hate, how much these dogs are going through, how much cruelty this is and how horrible it is for these dogs, and that not enough is done. The penalties are not strong enough. I think in Texas, I think on my podcast, I think I said there was like a $10,000 fine, and I think the longest prison term is like 8 years, which even to be given, even when people are arrested and they are charged with a crime, a lot of times they're not given the fullest amount. Sometimes their charges are whittled down and they get, I don't know, just little smaller, get charged with different smaller charges than the worst crime, that they should be charged with. And that happens a lot of times in dog fighting cases. And sometimes the investigations can go on. There's investigations that have gone on for years. They have not made arrests for years, putting dog investigators in this kind of investigation for 6 months, a year, 2 years, just so they can collect. The main thing that they get out of dogfighting is the money and the illegal substances and weapons. So a lot of the dogfighting isn't even found out until they are investigating other crimes and they realize, where's all this money coming from? Why is it changing hands and this and that? And then they get, they come upon the dogfighting by accident a lot of times, because a lot of dogfighting is not reported. There's like thousands of people that might know about specific dogfighters in a certain region, and none of these people will call the cops or the FBI or anything. So it depends a lot of times on the other activities surrounding dogfighting that people get arrested for, that lead the investigators to, or police, law enforcement, to the actual dogfighting. So dogfighting flourishes because of that also, because it's very rarely found out. And when I was younger and I was accosted numerous times by people wanting to fight my dog, and he was beautiful and he looked a little bit intimidating, and I think that's why people stopped me so many times. And I was so young and I really didn't have enough of a hold on, I knew it was cruel and horrible, but I just didn't really know. We didn't have the internet back then. We do now. Educate yourself, grow up, and get stronger and learn more about it, and start voicing your opinion or supporting pit bull rescues, or advocating in any way that you can if you really, really love pit bulls. Don't say you love them and then cop out on, it makes me sick and I can't think about it. I don't want to hear that. I don't care. I'm so sick of that, kind of attitude. And that is what helps these people, this organized activity proliferate, is because they are just given so much free ground to do it on. If you turn a blind eye to it, if you act like it's not happening and you want no part of it because it makes you sick or whatever, that's no excuse. You're really not a pit bull advocate or a pit bull lover when you cannot face that fact. And I do sound angry, and I'm upset because I made that podcast, and I've always been, this has always been something that bothers me. It will to my last day. Well, I don't mean to be so mean and cruel and horrible, but, I think sometimes people need a kick in the pants to understand, some things. You take it so lightly. And it took me decades, like I say, decades for it to be really found out by me, the intensity of it and what it means to me. And I think I mentioned the documentary Off the Chain. If you ever get to see that, it'll educate you. It can make you sick at your stomach, but, if you've been like a lightweight, just, like I say, they're so sweet and I love them, if you really do, start really proving it and start really loving them. Thank you all for coming to this podcast, this video. If you want to listen to that podcast, it's on Anchor, Spotify, several other platforms wherever they have podcasts. Just look it up. It's The Dog Show with Kimberly Quintanilla. Thank you all. Thank you for coming to this channel.